Hey everybody, it's Pastor Amanda. Welcome back to our message for PRPC Kids. Over the next few weeks, I've got some great stories to share with you from this great book, Love Does for Kids. The stories I'm going to share are by the author of this book, a man named Bob. So they're his stories, but I'm going to share them with you because I think they will help us understand what love does and how God uses love to change the world. The first story I want to tell you from Bob's book, Love Does for Kids, is about how Bob gets in a fight. This story is called Go Pick a Fight. And Bob, when he was in middle school, he picked a fight with the school bully. He was sick of the way the bully was treating people. And so one day he called him out of recess and they got into an actual fight. And they both got bloody noses and got in big trouble. Now, you know that fighting with our fists is a bad idea and we'll always get in trouble. But you know what Bob found out later as he grew up and he learned about Jesus? He found out that Jesus picks fights. Now, Jesus doesn't pick fights with his fists, but Jesus does pick fights. But the kind of fights that Jesus picks, they're good fights. And they're the kind of fights that we want you to go pick. Jesus picks fights with the things that hurt people. The fights that Jesus takes on create more peace and joy and comfort in the world. As Bob grew up and made more and more friends, he met friends that were taking on the kind of fights that Jesus would take on. Fighting things like sadness and hopelessness, things like hunger and homelessness, and poverty, and slavery, and shame. All of Bob's friends that are taking on these fights, these are the kind of fights that Jesus wanted his friends to take on. Jesus knew that some really sad things were going to happen in this world. And Jesus would tell his friends not to be scared of those things, not to be scared of taking on those fights, because Jesus is bigger than all of those scary things. And Jesus' plan is bigger. The plan that God has for the world is bigger and better than the sad things that we experience in this world. Your parents and the adults in your life that love you, they will tell you to not get into fights, and they're right. But you'll know the kind of fights that Jesus wants you to get into. You'll know them when you see somebody at school who doesn't have any friends, who always sits alone at lunch. You could be the person to fight loneliness and sadness in their life by asking them to sit with you and sharing your lunch one day. Every time we pick the right kind of fight, the world knows a little bit more about Jesus. And that's what love does.